Right, well, thank you for being with us and thank you for the overwhelming response to John Howard's appearance last night. Tony Abbott has written superbly on the Howard government's successors. Of course, he's written from the perspective of being a member of that government. Much of this material I covered last night with Prime Minister Howard. But as is Tony Abbott's wont, he touched on issues which are rarely debated and therefore disappointingly ignored. At a time in Australia's political life where the voter isn't certain what the major political parties stand for, except for net zero carbon dioxide emissions, and hence, as I've written, at the last election, 59% of voters didn't vote for the coalition and 66% didn't vote for the Labor Party. They are staggering indictments. But Tony had it right when he said, and I quote, "For a long time, the Labor opposition couldn't decide whether to label Howard an ogre or a wimp. That was because he always knew his objectives: support for the family, for small business, and for traditional institutions, with a golden thread," wrote Tony Abbott, "that ran right through his public life." Tony said, quote, "He had a good general sense of when and when not to give battle." He said the Howard government largely avoided looking ideological, but managed to make the country more centre-right over the course of its term. He said the major political parties don't like being told, but the perception is they've both lurched to the left. Tony Abbott, though, also made legitimate criticisms. And he said, quote, "The Howard government also gave us the renewable energy target, environmental laws that licensed green activists, and the nuclear ban. It baked in," he said, "long-term spending on the back of short-term revenue. In its last year or two, it never repealed the anti-free speech provisions of the Race Discrimination Act, and it never touched the compulsory super that has helped to magnify political correctness in public company boardrooms," unquote. Well, if I can include one recurring comment from your thousands of emails and texts praising John Howard, they also included the criticism that it was Prime Minister Howard who encouraged Turnbull to stay in the Parliament. Look at Turnbull's performance then and now. Even so, writes Tony Abbott, Howard's is a record of achievement to embarrass nearly all its predecessors and to outshine all of its successors so far. Appropriately, Mr Abbott argued, the next generation has to accept that the Howard government did better than us and to work out why it succeeded so our public life can be better from now on. Well, one of the truisms of life, politics and sport is that you can only learn if you have the modesty to accept the advice of others. Remember, we appreciate your comments. You can email me, alan@skynews.com.au. The text line, 0414 000 848. It's Wednesday, March 3.